Am I a hole for uninviting my brother from my wedding because of what he did? Am I a hole for giving my dad an ultimatum? Am I a hole for withdrawing support over a meal? I'm female, 34. I've been with my fiance Jack, male 36, for over 7 years. We've had infertility issues for years, and the topic of children has always been sire of us after trying for years without succeeding. Jack has always wanted kids, and we decided to adopt as our last option, but after we get married. Everything was going smoothly, and invitations have been sent out. My brother Sam, 22, likes to joke a lot. They call him Sammy the Jokester, and everybody thinks he's funny. I don't find him funny because his jokes tend to be cruel and him and I don't have the best relationship due to that. He already joked about my infertility issues in the past, but my family would excuse his behavior saying he's just a kid with no experience. Days ago, I was visiting my parents' house while Jack was out working. I left my purse on a coffee table and went inside the kitchen to help my mom. Sam was in the living room watching TV. We had dinner and talked a bit, then I opened my purse to check my phone. I found it was turned off, so I started it, then found about 15 missed calls from Jack. I freaked out thinking he got into an accident or something. I called his number immediately and put him on speaker. He asked me about a text I sent him an hour earlier. I asked what text, and he said a text telling him I was pregnant. Sam suddenly started laughing. He asked if it was true and why I didn't tell him in the morning. I was shocked, and I said I didn't send anything. He told me to check my messages, and I did. I saw that at 7:30 p.m. someone sent Jack a message saying I was pregnant. I was confused as heck. Sam kept laughing and admitted sending it right away. He lost it on him and he said it was just a joke to mess with Jack's, that's all. I asked how he could think this was a joke knowing how hard it was for Jack even if he believed it for 1 second. He argued that he didn't think Jack would take it seriously, but it was sent from my phone, so it was supposedly sent by me. I said his behavior has got out of control, and after this stunt, I no longer want him at the wedding, and he was uninvited because I only want supportive people at the wedding, and he was being far from that. My parents said I should come down before reacting like this over a joke, and that Sam was just telling a nasty little joke, no big deal. But I refused to keep arguing and grabbed my stuff to go, deal with the trauma Sam caused Jack with his joke. Jack was so upset, but unusually quiet. We cried in the middle of the night after I apologized to him for what happened. My parents kept calling asking me to come down and re-invite Sam, but I refused. They offered that they apologize to Jack, but Sam refused to apologize, insisting it was just a teasing joke, nothing more.
It's a joke. I don't get it. Explain it to me. Quote, I saw this on Twitter ages ago, and it works wonders when someone either tries to excuse themselves or someone else's poor behavior is a joke. Quote, NTA Sam needs to learn actions have consequences, and your parents need to stop coddling him like he's a baby. I'm sorry you have such an asshole like this in your life. I've used it. You look the jokester dead in the eye, drop your voice and very calmly and slowly say, I don't get it. Explain the joke to me. They've said, oh, come on. And I've said, seriously. I don't get it. I need you to explain it to me. It takes the wind right out of their sails. They look around very sheepishly and realize that you've taken their power, or whatever the hell it is that they think they have by being cruel in their supposed joke, and the room goes ice cold. Not sure what Saftig_Sticks version is, but I've also used this kind of tactic with professors or supervisors who are trying to teach me something that is wrong or unreasonable. Instead of saying no, that can't be right, I just drill down on how much I'm confused by the dumb part until they figure it out. Can you tell me again why we run this as a QQQ process? I always expect it to be a PPP process, and I don't want to do it wrong. Oh, so that will save it as data rather than text, is that so that it will show up in Excel as only numbers rather than specific months, etc. So I have a boss that tells you what he wants, then explains how he wants it done, and essentially certain steps are basically triplicated. I've been told my face shows my confusion/incredulousness. Especially if I'm tired, I'm sure I have a this does not compute kind of look. So, along with saying I'm not understanding, I then break down each step, basically laying out the triplicate steps, and saying that's what you're wanting done. Is there a reason I can't just insert the one simple step? He's an intelligent person, I'm pretty bright myself, but he worked with not so bright/got people that he wouldn't manage, so he just created very basic step-by-step processes that were kind of dummy-proof, instead of him holding them accountable. I also say something like, what did you mean by that? If it isn't a joke, but as a comment that you find bigoted/racist/misogynistic, etc. My SIL, who was high-ranking in the AF, used this phrase because she wanted to call out men who might say something that offended her or other lower-ranked women, but she still had to work with them. It's letting them do the work for you. Absolutely do this. What was funny about the joke? I don't get it. Will immediately take the power from them. Have him try to explain why telling your husband that you're pregnant is funny. Oh, so the fact that we can't have a baby naturally is funny. How? I don't find it funny. How is it funny? ? Seriously, by 22, lack of life experience or not, you should know better. And he does. He just thinks that sort of cruel behavior is acceptable because he's been enabled. Don't let him continue this op. Stand your ground.
Second story. I'm at a hole for giving my dad an ultimatum. About a year ago, my dad approached me and told me that he, my stepmom, and two half brothers were thinking about moving to a new state. I had 50-50 custody and asked him what it meant for me. He said that he would pay for me to come for every school break and every other holiday. I was mad at him and told him that he already gets to spend all his time with my brothers and doesn't want that with me, and it was difficult for me with 50-50. And now he wanted to move and really leave me? He told me he didn't want to leave me, and I told him that if he moved, I would refuse to see him because he would be showing I was worthless to him. I told him if he forced me to come and didn't respect my wishes, I would make life hell for him and his wife. Anyways, it has been 10 months and my mom made me visit him once, and it sucked, and I had to sleep on a couch. I have refused to go back, and my dad texts, calls me every single day, and I do not respond. My stepmom recently called me screaming and said I was breaking my dad's heart and was a cruel daughter. I told her she was overstepping my boundary and to never contact me again. I think my dad deserves this, and I was very clear with my intention if he moved. My mom said I am being too hard on him and my stepmom.
Whoa. I'm a bit surprised at the YT comments. I don't see you as one. You are 15. Your dad told you a year ago, when you were 14, that he was gonna move to another state to be near your stepmom's family. He had 50-50 custody of you. He literally ditched you for his new family. And he made you sleep on the couch at his new house. No bed for you? I believe you are NTA. I'm so sorry your dad left you because his new wife wanted him to move. That is just messed up. I don't blame you for not wanting to see him. He made his choice. This is why some states in the US actually forbid the parent from moving outside of the child's school zone in their custody agreements. It's cruel to the child who has absolutely no control over the situation and can have a lasting impact. Talk about fostering feelings of abandonment. Shame on OP's dad. He effectively threw her away, but has his feelings hurt, so AITA. Some people seem to think I'm insinuating that they're legally forbidden to move, period, which would obviously be ridiculous, but still people are assuming. What I'm saying is that in 50-50 custody situations they will be in violation of the agreement if they move out of the child's school zone and have to forfeit their visitation rights, and often are subsequently ordered to pay support, as the child is no longer with them half of the time. I agree she is NT, and not only that, she has been harassed by her stepmother, who selfishly decided that her needs were far more important than OP's. The stepmother decided that her biological children needed a grandmother more than OP needed her father. This move is all about the selfish stepmother who was nice to OP, until OP got in the way of what she wanted, and then she got nasty. Personally, I think OP should print all the Reddit comments out and post them to her father to read. Your supremely selfish stepmother knew you existed when she married your father and had 2 children with him. She knew he had a relationship and obligations to you, but destroyed your relationship with your father because she feels that her needs are more important than anyone else's. She has made any ongoing relationship with your father impossible, but her 2 children get to have his support and involvement in their life. Their needs will always be prioritized. I can't help but think that this was deliberate, and she's probably been planning this for a long time. I think that you are right to ignore your father. Don't answer any calls or try and make him feel any better. He betrayed you. He chose what his new wife wanted over what you needed. He's not fit to be called a father, and you deserve better. As for her, I hope there is an afterlife filled with torment for her inexcusably cruel behavior. I like this response. Father had a prior obligation, and he, with the urging of his wife, just trampled all over it. Furthermore, if father insists he still wants a relationship with his child, why can't he travel to visit OP? I know many kids must travel alone due to custody issues, but in a world with human trafficking and airline passengers getting unruly and violent, I personally wouldn't want my child traveling long distance alone. They really couldn't wait a few years for OP to go off to college. And they didn't even buy a house with an extra room for her to make her feel welcome if she came to stay. Not to mention the stepmom sounds unhinged for calling up a 15-year-old to scream at her. Lady, it's partly your fault this even happened. I'm sure moving away to be closer to her side of the family was mainly her idea, and didn't want to wait until OP was an adult. It is unfortunately uncommon that dads abandon their kids for their new families. He doesn't get to have his cake and eat it too. You are his child, and he should have prioritized his relationship with you over the stepmom's wishes. NTA. The couch is the worst part, I think. If he had attempted to talk to her and make her feel special, loved and wanted, even from interstate, that could have worked. He could have bought a house with a room for her, set it up nice, and done a heap of holiday-style activities for her and him. Instead she has to sleep on the couch. No way. 50% custody, and he doesn't even have a bed for her? The mum is the TA as well for pushing her to see her dad.
Third story. Amari a hole for withdrawing support over a meal? Once a year, not last, my family goes to a fancy restaurant, like a place where steak are 45 plus and sides a la carte. It's a fun treat for us kids at least, as our parents pay. We all catch up and we get to try places we never can't afford yet ourselves. So, 2019, when we went, my parents invited my fiance's mom, as we were newly engaged, and she hasn't met everyone. When invited, his mom expressed she can't afford it. And I told her it's fine because my parents are paying. It's a treat for everyone. We knew that anyway because we've been helping recently. I felt absolutely disgusted with his mom. She got 4 whiskey sours, red wine, coke, the most expensive steak, added shrimp, and lobster. Then got 3 sides in desserts. Her bill alone was just over $500. Meanwhile, the single highest bill for the other 7 people was $82. My parents bit the cost and asked me not to complain. They don't want to start anything. Boyfriend is equally mad and talked to her. She tried to say that since they picked the restaurant, they can afford it, so it wasn't a big deal. When it was explained that this a once a year thing before. Well, this year, my mom invited her again, despite my no, but not subtly added a cap to the price point. Well, 20 minutes or so into dinner, boyfriend's sister and son show up unexpectedly, which pissed me off. But she asked for her own check, so at least she wasn't coming for a free meal. Her card denied. His mom claimed to not bring her wallet. Boyfriend immediately asked for her check, but my dad, being my dad, went ahead and paid it. Walking out, his sis jokingly asked where we were going next year. His mom said it was a joke. Calm down. So I canceled the scheduled payment to help her pay one-fourth her rent. It was the same as the meal, so I told her her daughter can pay it, or she can. Boyfriend is being harassed by them now. Am I a hoe?